This is Black Titanic. Hit that like button, share, and please subscribe. And thank you for your support. Hey, this is Black Titanic. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. This is my backup channel, you guys. I need help. Don't seem like I'm gonna ever get to 1,000, but I'm moving it. I'm moving it on. Y'all help me out. I think I need maybe about 150 more before I get to 1,000. But we're talking about this trap. This is part two for me, you guys. Y'all know I hadn't been covering Love and Marriage Huntsville, you guys, but I leave and I come back. So now I'm back. So let's talk about the trap. How the Scott's brother, they like to team up with each other, and make fake business deal, trying to feed to the public that they these big time businessmen. So Chris and Martell gonna team up on them, you guys. They had a sit down. So they sit down for lunch, and Chris walked through the door. He walked through that door. They gonna sit down for lunch to catch up. So Chris and Martell teams up against the Scott's brother. You know how they like to trap you. You remember that? Yeah, do y'all remember when they had that sit down with Melody and Martell to buy all this property in Huntsville? Y'all know that's how the TV they started with the TV program buying all this property. And then they had this meeting. Melody had everything in place. All the players was there to sign the documents so that the land can be approved. Everybody sit down, and then I forgot the name of whoever she was talking to on the phone was the big man, right? Whoever she was talking on the phone, and his signature was all they needed, right? So Melody got all of them together, and let me back up. Before that, Love and Marriage Huntsville producers was showing them on the porch talking. Kenny talking to her man, Uncle Festus, and they're talking about uh eliminating Melody out of the equation, you guys. That's what they talked about. I don't know what was in that folder that Uncle Fester had, but it was like these documents she gonna sign. She gonna sign herself out of this. We gonna eliminate her. Anyway, you guys, but to come to find out that that person on the phone said that he could not approve the application because it was not enough signatures was on there. Only the wives of the Scott wives' signature was on the paperwork for the property. The property that they put up, ain't nobody never heard about it or, had no value to it. So that threw Melody because Melody went through the process. Y'all know that process not easy. She was, crossing all her dots so that they can have this land together, right? So that was the type of backhanded dealing they were doing in the background. So anyway, Melody and just telling them that she did not need them. They needed her, you guys. But anyway, I'm talking about how the Scott's brother like to allegedly create all these fake business deals. Now listen at this. Listen at this. So Chris and Martell, they doing some catching up. They teaming up against the Scott's brother. So, Chris walked to the table, give Martell a high five, y'all. Yeah, I'm glad to see you, bro. That type of greetings, yeah. So Martell said, looking at Chris, said, what? What you got going on? That's what Martell is saying to Chris. He said, what's been going on? Chris said, shucks. Nothing much, man, but, I just had to sit down and talk to Marsau the other day. What? Martell sipping on his glass of drink, whatever Martell was drinking. What was Marsau doing? Was he asking you for advice? What or what? That's what Martell was saying. Chris said, no, no way, man, no. He asked me to come back. Well, he asked me to come back. My soul felt like this. Now check this out, bro. Check this out. My soul felt like, bruh, I should come to him. Chris said, shucks. Nothing much, man, but I just had to sit down and talk to my soul the other day. What? Martell sipping on his glass of drink, whatever Martell was drinking. What was Marceau doing? Was he asking you for advice? What or what? That's what Martell was saying. Chris said, no, no way, man, no. He asked me to come back. Well, he asked me to come back. My soul felt like this. Now check this out, bro. Check this out. My soul felt like, bruh, I should come to him, bro, first, and then let him know the status of my license. The status of my license. Why? Exactly. Exactly. Why? So I felt like I should have came to him first and let him know the status of my license. Why? Exactly. Why? So I felt like I should have came to him first and let him know the status of my license. Why? Exactly. Why? Explaining. He get to explaining, y'all. Chris get to explaining that my soul must be trying to pull the wool over the audience eyes and the wool over Chris' eyes that he is this great businessman. So he said, Chris said, we had to sit down 2 years ago. Yeah, bro, we had to sit down 2 years ago. And you know what I said to him? Chris looking over there at Martell right now. Martell over there putting his lip gloss on and looking furious. I know what I said to him, bro. Did you come to me? Did you come to me and tell me about your lawsuits? I remember saying, God, no, 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 don't but me. Don't but me, said Flesh. Yeah. So did you come to me about them lawsuits? Did you come to me about the hotel? Did you come to me about the apartment building? Did you come to me about building on anything? Well, Martell over there sipping all on his glass or whatever, putting on his blah. You didn't call me at all. Boy, did you know that my soul didn't call me at all when he was building that apartment building? Oh, we're talking about Zengard. And as I told him, bro, I told, who the F are you? It looked like Chris got mad after Chris thought about him questioning him about his license being revoked. Chris got pissed. As I told him, who the F are you? Who the F are you? Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Marsau said, Fletcher, Fletcher. Yeah, I know how Marsau is. You can't, that, no, 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 no. This is, yeah. Martell said, I hope you, some, I hope you stood up for yourself or something like that. Martell said, and then Chris said, you know how Marsau is. Y'all know how Marsau is. You can't get a word in. Yeah, and then Martell said, yeah, you can't let him talk. Chris, you can't let him talk. You can't get a word in. Martell said, yeah, you got a tatted ass up in the beginning. You got a tatted ass up in the beginning, Martell says. Yeah, these people is trying to manipulate the audience mind. When we have followed this story, we know that Marsau, you never completed anything. You know why? Because you said it in court. You testified in court that you had not completed anything. You let him get started? Yeah, it's like you let him talk. Yeah, let him more start talking. You know, you gotta tell that ass up from the beginning. Exactly. And they all in your business, especially Marsau. Like, how many projects has he completed? Didn't say one time. So Chris is right. They never complete anything. So I don't know how Marsau feel like he can ride off of Chris back, y'all. He sit up there on national TV, him and his brother, and said that he had a business deal with him, that they were business partners. And Chris, they were shocked that Chris would not play along with that fakeness, you guys. Because they want to ride off of Chris coattail so they can say that they are businessmen. That's their manipulation. You don't have to do anything. I'm so glad it backfired on them. Yes, it backfired on them, you know. So here's the deal. When those brothers come to them on that boat, Martell and Chris already done discussed the decision. They already know how to gang up and you know and set traps on you. Yeah. Like as I told him, we looking for you. Yeah. Well, Fletch, we doing business together. Oh no, exactly. Nothing. Why you keep going? Wait, and how about doing business? Our sit down was 2 years ago. Like as I told him, we looking for you. Yeah. Didn't say one time that he complete the projects that matters to him or something. He said black fence. Really? Is it? And I was on Joy Lane and I passed by the building again. But they just started that doing a little work out there. Trying to put some in the building number 500 square feet. Is it? No. Right. It's the outside frame, man. Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy as hell Chris stood up for himself. The remodel they would Best Western, yeah. Best Western, yeah, you guys. I did even debunk that alleged project that she just started. She wanted to be completed. And you, my son, you cannot. Shout out to ancestor brother Miles. Alexander Miles has patented the elevator. He designed the elevator, you guys, in 1887, I believe. Yeah, 1887. Right. His design for an improved method for opening and closing the elevators in 1887 by allowing the doors to automatically open and close at the desired floors, you guys. His innovation made elevators not only safer, but easier and more convenient to use. So at the time, you guys, y'all know about opening and closing the doors of both the shaft and the cabin had to be completed manually by either the elevator operator. They always had an operator or by passenger. Because of this, doors were often left open and passenger, get this, y'all, passenger will fall into the elevator shaft, leading to serious injuries and even death. And besides that, Mr. Miles was an entrepreneur. He owned a barber shop, you guys, and he was into real estate. This was in the 1800s, you guys. He was a very wealthy black man. Shout out to Ancestor. Shout out to FBA brother Alexander Mouse, invention of the elevator. This is a Black History Spotlight. This is Author Black Titanic. How you guys doing? Well, today's lesson is the elevator. A black man by the name of Mr. Alexander. Mr. Alexander invented the elevator, you guys. What he did was improve the elevator doors. I remember growing up as a little girl that you had to have people to operate the doors. Plenty of people was falling the door. It just really wasn't safe until Brother Alexander came and created the elevators. So now you know that a black man by the name of Mr. Alexander invented the elevators. So this is a Black History. What they do is